Hey guys, this is Subhashish Mishra, your test coach. Today we will learn about SOAP web services. In our previous video, we have seen what is web services, how it works, what is WSDL, what is UDDI. Now we will learn what is SOAP web services. Any web service that follows some guidelines which are laid down by SOAP web services specifications is known as SOAP web services. SOAP web services has some certain rules. Any web services follows those rules are called as SOAP web services. SOAP is known as Simple Object Access Protocol. SOAP is an XML based protocol for accessing web services over HTTP. It has some specification which could be used across all applications. SOAP is platform independent and language independent. By using SOAP, you will able to interact with other programming language applications. Let's understand that a bit. In today's world, there is a huge number of applications which are built on different programming languages. For example, there could be a web application designed in Java and another in .NET and another in PHP. Exchanging data between these applications is crucial in today's networked world, but data exchange between these heterogeneous applications would be complex. So, accomplishing this data exchange is a complicated process. One of the methods used to reduce this complexity is to use XML as the intermediate language for exchanging data between applications. XML is known as Extensible Markup Language. Every programming language can understand the XML markup language, hence XML was used as the underlying medium for data exchange. But there are no standard specifications on use of XML across all programming languages for data exchange. That is where SOAP comes in. SOAP was designed to work with XML over HTTP and have some sort of specification which could be used across all applications. So let's understand what are these specifications and who defines these standards. SOAP is a W3C recommendation for communication between two applications. W3C is an international community that develop open standards for World Wide Web. W3C is known as World Wide Web Consortium. What is SOAP specification? The SOAP specification defines something known as SOAP message, which is what is sent to the web service and the client application. The SOAP message is nothing but a XML document which has the few components like envelope, header and body. What is envelope element? It identifies the XML document as a SOAP message. This is the containing part of SOAP message and is used to encapsulate all the details in the SOAP message. This is the root element in the SOAP message. Then we have header element. It contains header information. The header element can contain information such as authentication credentials which can be used by the calling application. It can also contain the definition of complex types which could be used in the SOAP message. By default, the SOAP message can contain parameters which could be of simple types such as strings and numbers but can also be a complex object type. Then we have body. It contains call and response information. This element is what contains the actual data which needs to be sent between the web service provider and the calling application or service consumer. RESTful web service. So what is RESTful web service? A web service that communicates or exchanges information between two applications using REST architecture or principles is called a RESTful web service. RESTful web service is a lightweight, maintainable and scalable service that is built on the REST architecture. RESTful web service expose API from your application in a secure, uniform, stateless manner to the calling client. The calling client can perform predefined operations using the RESTful service. The underlying protocol for REST is HTTP. So, what is REST? REST stands for Representational State Transfer. It is an architectural style and an approach for communication used in the development of web services. Unlike SOAP, REST is not a protocol. There is no strict specification. There is no central body which is controlling the specification. So, REST is a design principle which is used to create some web services, and those web services are known as RESTful web services. REST is a way to access resources which lie in a particular environment. For example, you could have a server that could be hosting some important documents or pictures or videos. All of these documents or pictures or videos are an example of resources. If a client, say web browser, needs any of these resources, it has to send a request to the server to access these resources. Now, REST defines a way on how these resources can be accessed. Now let's understand few basic principles of REST. We'll understand each and every concept in detail. So you will understand about the uniform interface, we'll understand about resource, URI, HTTP, then we have the stateless. So we'll understand what is stateless, what is cacheable, what is layered system, and what is RESTful client server. So first let's understand what is resources, URI and HTTP valves. Let's assume that a web application on a server has records of several employees. Let's assume the URL of the web application is http://star.com. Now, in order to access all employees record resource via REST, one can use this, right? http://employees. To access a single employee record, someone can use this star.com, then employees, then this is your employee ID. Similarly, for accessing the departments, we can do something like this. Here we can find all departments using star.com/departments. Similarly, if you want to fetch a single department, you can fetch with the department ID. So 51 here is the department ID. Then all these modules, employee is a module, department is a module, all these are interlinked. So here there may be a question, how we will get list of employees from a particular department. So we can get it something like this. First we will go to the departments, then department ID, then list all the employees belongs to that list. Right. So here resource is everything like employees, department, and you can define any information or any module as a resource. And URI means you can access any data or any module with the help of a uniform resource identifier, which is known as URI. What is HTTP valves? It describes what you want to do with a resource. A browser issues a GET valve to instruct the endpoint it wants to get data. However, there are many other valves available, including things like post, put and delete. So in case of this example, here the web browser is actually issuing a GET valve because it wants to get the details of the employee record. It is fetching the employee record with the employee ID. So we are using here the GET valve, and we have the other valves like post, put, delete. Post is used to create a resource on the server. For example, you want to add new details of an employee, then you can use post. If you want to update, for example, there is an employee whose salary got increased and you want to update his salary, then you can do it through put. For example, one employee left the organization, you want to delete that record, so you can use delete. So these all are the HTTP valves. Then we have stateless. The concept of stateless means that it's up to the client to ensure that all the required information is provided to the server. This is required so that server can process the response appropriately. The server should not maintain any sort of information between request from the client. It's very simple independent question answer sequence. The client asks a question and the server answers it appropriately. The client will ask another question. The server will not remember the previous question answer scenario and will need to answer the new question independently. For example, here we have a URL where we are fetching employee details through a employee ID. In our next sequence of fetching data, it should not remember this employee ID. So that's how this stateless things works. Then we have cache. So the cache concept is to help with the problem of stateless, which was described in the last point. Since each server client request is independent in nature, sometimes the client might ask the server for the same request again. This is even though it had already asked for it in the past. The request will go to the server and server will give a response. This increases the traffic across the network. The cache is a concept implemented on the client to store requests which have already been sent to the server. So if the same request is given by the client, instead of going to the server, it would go to the cache and get the required information. This saves the amount of to and from network traffic from the client to the server. Then we have layered system. The concept of layered system is that any additional layer such as a middleware layer can be inserted between the client and the actual server hosting the RESTful web service. The middleware layer is where all the business logic is created. This can be an extra service created with which the client could interact with before it makes a call to the web service, but the introduction of this layer needs to be transparent so that it doesn't disturb the interaction between the client and the server. Then we have RESTful client server. This is the most fundamental requirement of a REST based architecture. It means that the server will have a RESTful web service which would provide the required functionality to the client. The client sends a request to the web service on the server. The server would either reject the request or comply and provide an adequate response to the client. So that's the principle of RESTful web services. Thank you. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section. I'll try to explain it. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel.